Welcome to another edition of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight. During this hour, we're bringing you highlights from some of our shows focused on all things sports in the DMV. Please be sure to give us a follow on all of our social platforms. First up on Pitt Sports Zone, Morgan State football's Ginelle Mitchell shares her experience with being the team's offensive coordinator assistant. Then, catch up on the Washington Wizards coverage as they take a loss against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. On Baltimore Ravens Rundown, check out this part 2 of the introductory press conference featuring Ravens' new head coach, Jesse Minter. Lastly, we take a look at more sights, sounds, and press conferences from Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. Don't go anywhere, and as always, enjoy this week's episode of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight.
What's going on, everybody? You know what it is. I'm your host, Pitts and Point Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live yet again. And as I told you, man, we're going to be kicking off our Women in Sports series. And who else other than one of the homies, Big G, a.k.a. Ginelle, Morgan State University, female coach, a.k.a. offensive coordinator. What it do?
What's up, guys? I'm Ginelle.
How you been, G?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. G, I'm sad that our journey is coming to a close.
I know it's been a long journey. I got a lot of great flicks.
I appreciate you, man. And, you ladies made covering Morgan State even more delightful. Like, you guys embraced me. Not only that, it became like a genuine friendship, like where, you guys are checking up on me. And I truly appreciate that.
Of course. We family.
Always. But even though I ain't go to Morgan State, I feel like I'm an honorary Bear.
Yeah. Once you're part of the Bear family, everybody become family.
So G, let's go ahead and kick you off, right? And before, I know you was on before, but we did a group show. Let's do a couple icebreakers.
Okay.
So what is your favorite food?
My favorite food, chicken. Anything chicken, I'm down for it.
And I believe last time when I asked you this question, I think you said anywhere the sand is. And I said, what about Ocean City? You said, nah.
Yeah, nah.
But the question was, what is your favorite dream destination vacation, or your favorite vacation?
Yeah, I would again say anywhere where it's like water. I love water. I love scenery. So if I could dip my feet in some sand and, you feel me, get in some water, nice looking water, I'm there.
So for those that don't know, where are you from?
I'm from Philly. Shout out Philly.
So the reason why I asked you that is because, you know what I'm saying, I'm from Pittsburgh. So when when you say water, and people be like, dang, where's she from? That's that north. No, that's not up north.
Yes, people always debate with me about how I say water, water. I don't know.
And lastly, do you have a favorite NFL team?
Yeah, my favorite NFL team gonna always be the Eagles.
Okay, shout out home team. We sadly this week we both sitting on the couch. I'll bring the Tostitos. You bring the cheese dip. Because last week I interviewed Bowie State softball coach right before the game when we played against Houston, and I had my terrible towels on, so waving. And this week I'm sad.
It's gonna come back. That wasn't nothing. You feel me? We still who we are. At the end of the day, we still got our rings. We champs.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And shout out to my head coach, Mike T, for a wonderful journey of 19 years. Let's talk about you. Tell us how you got into the journey of coaching. What inspired you to pursue a career in coaching, and how did you get started?
I always enjoy helping people and leading people in the right direction. As far as football, I always kind of had an interest in football, and I believe it was 2023. Coach Sherman, who was the old offensive coordinator, he gave me the opportunity to be his assistant, and Coach Wilson accepted me for the team. And ever since, I was coaching with them, and I had a great time. I've been with them for a couple seasons, and I built a lot of relationships. I learned a lot of things, especially with the boys. It's a different perspective because obviously I'm a female.
Right.
So they helped me to learn a lot.
Absolutely. And, shout out to Coach Wilson and shout out to Coach BJ Sherman. Um, were there any pivotal moments or experiences that shaped your path?
Um, I would say the whole idea of even working with the football team for real, since it's so male dominated, um, a lot of people think that, you feel me? A lot of people don't realize that I am a coach for the team. So people kind of think that I do other things for the team. And I be having to tell them like I'm an offensive coordinator assistant. I'm a coach, and my respect is heavy. I feel like my respect is very heavy.
Absolutely. And if you can you just, delve into exactly what your roles, responsibilities were as an offensive coordinator?
As an offensive coordinator, during practice, I would call out personnel. The boys are always going to laugh at that because of, my accent or whatever, how I say the certain numbers and stuff like that. I kind of help the offensive coordinator as well as the other coaches on and off the field with different things as far as the script, our practice script and stuff on game days. Um, I'm in the booth with the offensive coordinator and the other coaches that are in the booth, and I'm kind of, writing down the plays and things that the offensive coordinator is announcing and that has said, following through with the game, and just being active. But all around, I feel like I kind of helped out a lot of the departments.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that in a male dominant field, it well I'll get to that question later. Let's talk about your mentoring and the impact. How do you approach mentoring young athletes, especially women um, who are looking to be up to you in your similar position?
I enjoy doing it. I feel like it's a testimony for me because not only am I teaching other people, but I'm also learning from other people because nobody's journey is the same. So through what I do, it's a learning experience. I'm learning and growing every time I'm mentoring to somebody else, and they're also mentoring to me. So I love doing it.
And can you share some rewarding experiences or success stories from your mentorship?
Yes. So early on, it was a couple times where, females, we're kind of emotional. So sometimes like on the field, um different different ladies, they would get, emotional, or they would have things that would be happening outside of football, and sometimes I would just pull them aside and, get their mental right and stuff like that, and tell them sometimes we just got to put all that stuff aside for the sport.
And I'm glad you said that because, just like for athletes, there's a fine balance in how you weigh those. Can you talk about that balance and how you are able to um, process it?
I feel like being on the field, it kind of makes you, because you gotta be focused, you gotta be locked in. You don't really have time to focus on things that's not happening on the field. So, um, sometimes I would get into little disputes, or, you feel me, arguments and stuff like that prior to a practice or something like that. But it's like soon as practice come, by the end of practice, I don't forgot why I was even mad. Now I'm happy again.
Absolutely. And those are the challenges, that we deal with on the day to day is being able to, compartmentalize, some of the outside distractions to a common to succeed on a common goal. But after that, life does go on. But you found ways to not only balance it, but succeed in that balance. as well. So definitely kudos and shout out to you in that regard. Um, I'd be remiss, we got a lot of Morgan State, folks tuned in. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to my guy Sebastian, MSU Creators, the best videographer, photographer, producer, out there. My guy Sebastian, shout out to him.
Nope. Shout out to them.
Yeah, so when we talk about football being what appears to be a male dominant field, right? What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a woman in sports coaching?
It's funny to say it, but obviously when you're a high value, when you're attractive, you're gonna draw male attention a lot easier than, you feel me, most people, especially being around them every day. So you kind of have to discipline yourself, and you got to stay focused. You got to, especially to keep them focused, you got to be focused.
Yeah, and navigating those and overcoming those obstacles, as you said, comes with a level of discipline in regards to achieving that goal and understanding the process and the role that you're playing and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
When we talk about mentors and role models, who were some of the mentors and role models that influenced your path?
Coach Wilson definitely was a role model for me because I feel like I always tell him, I feel like Coach Wilson is so humble. It doesn't matter what I bring to him, no matter how hard it is to tell him or how easy it is to tell him, he's always gonna have some advice to give, and he's always gonna remain humble. So Coach Wilson definitely was a role model for me in the process.
And shout out to Coach Wilson for sure. And I second everything that you said in regards to Coach Wilson. Not only that, Coach Wilson makes it. Um, he's definitely transparent. And he is supportive in everything that that you encounter and that you endeavor. For example, for me, the opportunity and the thoughts, a pathway of me covering Morgan State was from Coach Wilson. Um, and it all stemmed from me having him on my show one time as a guest and me sharing with him my thoughts and ideas of the way I wanted to try to share an exposure for media on HBCU athletics and the way that, he embraced my idea, the way that he supported me and the way that he made himself available to me, whenever, if ever I needed him. Extremely grateful and indebted to him for that.
Yes, Coach Wilson, he always gonna look out. He always gonna look out.
And when you're able to really sit back and under the tutelage, of a Coach Wilson, what were some of the lessons that you learned from him or others, or some of the things that you've seen him doing that you might have picked up on and may not mimic it, but add it to your repertoire to say, you know what, I'm gonna use this in the way that I feel is strong enough or beneficial for me, in your own way.
One of the biggest things I always seeing Coach Wilson doing, like I just mentioned, I always seeing him staying humble no matter what. And I feel like it added to me being humble because it really don't matter what you have materialistically or not materialistically. It's really what's inside and how you present yourself to other people. And I feel like Coach Wilson definitely demonstrated that a lot by you feel me, allowing, you're never gonna hear about Coach Wilson's outside life, like ever. He's always gonna be private, and every time you see him, you're gonna know he's a head coach, and his respect is very heavy because everybody listens to him. But he's very reserved, he's very humble, and I feel like he helped me to learn that.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it any better. You summed that up and couldn't say it any better. Let's talk your future growth and advice. What are your goals for the future, both personally and professionally?
My personal goals, I do want to I want to have my own organization, I would say. I want to mentor to younger people. I used to have a real specific audience that say younger women, but now that I kind of understand the boys a little bit better, as well, I would say mentoring to younger kids. And professionally, I got a lot of goals professionally, but as far as football goes, I'm I'm gonna get where I gotta go.
She said, "I'm gonna get where I gotta go. I'm gonna go where I gotta get." Okay. Lastly, what advice would you give to a young woman who aspires to enter the world of sports coaching?
um, the best advice I can really give is to stay disciplined because it's hard. It's really hard. You gotta really want it. You gotta challenge.
Start better. We only lost the second half by 2. They obviously came out and made some tough shots, but we didn't, have what we've been doing a lot lately with the force, physicality to make people miss shots. We made some execution on some of our coverages, and that kind of spiraled into like some tough runs. But great credit to the crew that came into the second half: Anthony Gill, Malachi, Will Riley, Jameer was with that group. Mixture of some other guys with that, but those guys came in and gave us a good spark, good fight, but too little too late on that.
I know you don't expect perfection, but was tonight a step backward considering the strides your team had made in the last couple weeks?
No, I don't believe so. We've played pretty consistent basketball here since the middle of December. No one wants that stuff to happen. We have competitive guys in our locker room. We're looking forward to the response on Sunday.
Brian, in a situation like this, after that first quarter, when things kind of go left, how do you maintain the guys' composure, their focus, making sure that they don't, drop the heads and kind of just sulk the rest of the game, but continue to try to stack the habits the next 3 quarters, because there is something you can learn from this?
I thought we played the right way in the third quarter. Going into the fourth, our passing got better. Obviously, we started turning them over, started getting out in transition. We started executing some of the things that we wanted to do well. So you always play throughout the game. You can build momentum in games like this that carry on to the next. You go to the very end and you keep fighting.
When you look at in real time, was it just that first quarter, the way that things started, that you can assess kind of where things went wrong and you can be happy with the way things went the next 3, or was there more throughout the game as well too?
I think the second quarter wasn't probably as great either. I liked our response in the second half. Like I said, we won the third quarter. We lost the second half by 2. But you got to start off with the way that we've been playing. Give the credit to those guys who came back and gave us some resilience there in the second half.
You did mention that 5-man group and the way that they were able to kind of right the ship a little bit, get back to you, the way you guys have been playing as of late, to Josh's point. What else did you see from them aside from the resiliency and the way that they were playing? What shifted for them that they were finding the solutions to some of the problems?
First of all, they got stops, and then they were the ones who really got into the paint, were kicking, penetrating, some hustle points on some offensive rebounds that you saw, to kick out threes. All the stuff that we've been doing really well lately, it was just a continuation for that group. That was a good showing by them.
Brian, I believe that you called a pair of timeouts when you saw some things that you didn't like early in the fourth. I talk about together which quarter it is, but what are you trying to accomplish when you call those timeouts, given how wide the margin was in that game?
We keep coaching and teaching. We got a lot of lessons learned throughout that game. So some of those timeouts are about a shared standard that the group should be playing at, a quick thing that we need to make an adjustment at. We always go to the end. So we're going to coach to the end. I expect our players to play to the end. So nothing changes with that.
Coach, despite being down big in the third, your team closed the gap. They showed fight. What positives can you take away from the way they executed going from the third into the fourth?
Yeah, I always think you can build momentum in any game you're playing on. You can stack things that you think maybe that doesn't happen. It does. Like, those things will carry over, and especially for that group that was out there, some great habits, right? Talking about pressure defense, turning people over, ball movement, sharing, our pace. That stuff can carry over, so it's good.
In addition, how exciting was that to see, you had a lot of injuries today, which is a part of the game, but to see that young group continue to fight despite the score.
Yeah, that's what I expect. That's what we've been doing, and the standard stays the same. That's what our group's been doing, like I said, for a very long time. I expect our guys, when they have an opportunity to step up, that they will, and they always have. Josh?
Anthony, what do you think is the lesson that that your team can take from tonight's game? Maybe there are more than one lesson.
I think the biggest thing we can learn is to stay neutral. Last night we had in our minds, a big win. We celebrated, and we thought we were on top for a little bit, and then we were quickly humbled today. We didn't come out the way that we should have. They jumped on us from the start, and we can never get it back. So just stay neutral. I know people say the cliche, never get too high, never get too low all the time, but for us as a young team, it's really important to be able to learn how to do that, to be able to learn how to win, to be able to learn how to lose. So that's probably it.
BK talked about the second unit group in that third quarter that was able to kind of start to navigate the solutions to some of the problems you all were running into. You were part of that group as well too. Mm-hmm. What were you guys seeing that was a little different that you were able to find the navigation points to get back into kind of what you guys have been doing as of late, the way you've been playing?
We just got rid of the fear, right? Like all of us, even myself, we go out there, you're playing the Lakers, playing LeBron James, and in your head, you know, they're all the way up here, right? And you have this expectation of who they are. When it comes down to it, they're just basketball players. So that group, we kind of put it aside. You know, we just went out there and we played as hard as we could. And again, going back to us having a young team, like these guys grew up watching LeBron and Luka play, and to be on the court with them now and in heated moments, they have to play through those, and they have to learn, and they have to grow, and this is just part of it right now.
I know you're not one to talk about yourself, but I have to ask. Towards the end of the game, you had that very great contest on LeBron in transition. Just kind of walk me through that moment, just to rise up. Most people would have made a business decision, but you made one, and it ended up working in your favor with the coach's challenge as well too.
Yeah, my business is to do what's best for the Wizards, and that is exactly what I'm gonna do every single time. But imagine if he would have made it. Oh my goodness, that would have been all over the place, and it would have been pretty embarrassing. But the business decision was to do what's best for the team. I love to be an example for the young guys, and I never want them to shy away from anything, and I can't be that.
You've gotten some really nice run here the last few games. You're part of that stay ready group. It's who you are when it comes to being a professional, just making sure that you're ready no matter what. What has kind of shifted, and how have you seen the game growing with your team, both being on the sideline and now being in that real extended game action as well?
Yeah, I can tell you there's a huge difference in both of those scenarios, right? When I'm on the sideline watching the team, I can see the growth. And then now actually being on the court with them these last few games, I can feel the growth, right? And, in practice, it's just us playing against each other. You don't really know what that would look like against competition in a game. Figure out a way to learn from what we just went through. Again, we had a lot of fear coming into this game. We got over it, but trying to understand that we are a good team. We have good players. We have a lot of young talent on this team, and trying to get them to have the confidence and believe in themselves. For me, that's the biggest thing, is trying to get them to understand that.
Do you really believe that the team was fearful heading into this?
Go ahead.
I beg your pardon. Maybe in the first quarter, or is that? But are you trying to find the right words for just the team not being at its best early?
No, I think I used the right word, fear. We didn't come into the game with fear. Everybody had the expectation to win the game. That's what we come into every single game with. But as soon as they hit us in the mouth, as soon as they made a run, we had a little bit of the fear factor in us. So in order for us to, get over that, we had to stick in it. We had to stay in the fight. That fear quickly went away, and I was proud of the guys, and I was included in that run that we did, and that was a lot of fun. To be able to experience, another hurdle that we were getting over, which is the celebrity or star factor of playing a team like the Lakers.
So you had 10 rebounds in limited minutes. How much pride do you take in impacting the game through effort plays?
I just want the team to be as good or even better when I step on the court. I want the guys to have extreme confidence. So if they hit a shot, I'm going to be the one yelling at them, telling them, great shot. I believe in these guys. I think they're really talented young guys, and they're going to be very special. I want them to know that. I want them to feel confidence when they go on the court. That's my job, is to speak life into them, and that's what I'm just trying to do.
What was the gist of it, and how do you envision getting the most out of somebody who's obviously already been a two-time MVP?
Yeah, Lamar and I have had multiple conversations. It's been great. It's been great to get to know him. I think relationships take time, And so you don't become the head coach of the Ravens and expect to have a deep relationship with anybody. So those take time. We've been working towards that already. We've had wonderful conversations. Look forward to many, many more. But Lamar, I just look forward to connecting with him, helping him become the best version of himself, creating a team identity that allows him to thrive, which he's already proven to be an elite, one of the best player in the National Football League, and put a team around him that allows him to reach that ultimate goal of bringing a Super Bowl back to Baltimore.
Jesse, Pete Gilbert here with WBAL TV. Welcome back. And I'm curious, did you get a chance to talk with John Harbaugh about this job and some of the things he offered maybe you about why you might fit in here so well as the head coach?
Yeah, I've talked to Coach a couple times. Tons of respect for John. The 18 years here, wonderful success. Probably, Super Bowl, probably in the Ring of Honor one day. And so tons of respect for everything that he's done. We've had just a couple small conversations. He knows how I feel about this place. He did text me like, I think they should hire you. That was just one of the texts he sent, so I appreciated that. But love John, and really just take the foundation in place and build on it and make it better and put my own spin on it and not try to be John Harbaugh, not try to be Jim Harbaugh. Be myself, connect with everybody, make it about all of us, and really look forward to doing that.
Jesse, Ryan Mink with BaltimoreRavens.com. Eric mentioned you worked your way up from the bottom here, starting as a defensive assistant. Can you reflect on that journey and how much more special it makes it to work your way up that way?
It makes it really special. I went into this process and I told Eric this, it wasn't because I knew everybody here that I wanted this job. It was because of my time here that I was able to see how this place operates and knowing that everything is in place to be a championship organization. And so that, I think my time being here allowed me to see that. Certainly just have the respect and humility of working your way up, and now I think anybody that comes into our coaching staff, comes into our organization, it's like you put your head down and you go to work and you work every day to try to be the best, whatever that role is, whether it's the defensive assistant, the assistant defensive backs coach, the defensive backs coach, now as the head coach. If you really focus on that and try to be the best at your job, anything's possible. And so great to have that, great opportunity, and look forward to the journey.
Hey Jesse, Jonas Schaefer from Baltimore Banner. Some Chargers players that you coached last year described you as an alpha. Talking to some coaches and players who you worked with in the past said that wasn't really the Jesse that they remember working with. I guess, can you talk about your evolution to a guy who can command the room, especially in the NFL with many egos and big time names that are?
I think it's learning. It's just always trying to evolve, always trying to get better. I think when I came in here, I had been a small college defensive coordinator, so I had stood up in front of the room and called defenses before and done those things, but I really made it a point here to come in and learn and listen and get to know the players and learn from them about what it took to be successful at this level. So I had great players around, great coaches to work with, and then just my confidence has grown as I've been in those positions now for a while, been in the leadership positions. Your confidence grows, your own style sort of begins to come out. And so I think that's really been the involvement. But it's really about trying to get better every day, trying to learn and grow and learn from everybody, listen to people, and always be trying to get better. And I think that's what's led me to this point.
Hey Jesse, Luke Jones, WNST, welcome. You being a defensive guy, a lot of questions about do you plan on calling your defense? And if so, how do you delegate that knowing the responsibilities and scope of that is so much more than being a defensive coordinator?
I do plan on calling the defense. Great question. I think that's a strength of mine. I think that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here. But I also think it's my leadership qualities. And I really look forward. I have a really good process, I feel, to do what I need to do to be ready to call the game, but also have the ability to be the head coach and to impact the entire roster, the entire team, make sure that it's our offense, our defense, our special teams, and that there's no divide there, and I know that I'm in charge of all that. But it starts with the relationships with the people in the building, particularly the players. And I think they'll feel my competitiveness, they'll feel my mentality every day. And I think we'll work hand in hand together to build a great team.
Jesse Cordell Woodland here from 105.7 The Thing. I am curious about You know, you have a guy in Kyle Hamilton on the defensive side of the ball. He's been used kind of all over the field in this defense. What is kind of your vision for a guy like Kyle Hamilton?
Great question. Kyle is a weapon. He's a positionless defensive player that I would classify as a weapon on defense. And so, as much as you can do to get a guy like Kyle near the point of attack, I think is what you try to do as a designer, play caller. And so, could not be more thrilled to be able to work with Kyle. Had a couple really good conversations with him already. And I know he's excited, and I'm excited to work with him alongside all the really great players that we have in this organization.
Charles Walker with the Baltimore Banner. The relationships between the coach and the general manager have been very important here. So I guess I would ask both Jesse and Eric, do you feel the fact that you guys do have some background together will let you sort of hit the ground running that way? And will the structure be similar to what it was in the past, where you both report to Steve, or will the chain of command be any different?
I think it's a partnership with Eric and I, and that's really what I was looking for in this whole process, was a partnership, somebody that you really, really trust. I do think the background of how Eric operates is what I was most excited about. I haven't seen him do this job prior, and so couldn't be more thrilled about our relationship beginning to grow and beginning to develop. And I know that we see football the same. We see what building a team looks like the same. And there's nobody I'd rather be sitting next to than Eric Takowski.
Hey Jesse, Morgan Atzett with Fox 45. As far as coaching hires, are there any that you can confirm? And as far as offensive and defensive coordinator go, how is that search going? What's the timeline, and what are you looking for in those particular two positions?
Yeah, great question. I won't confirm any hires at this point. Both of those searches are going really well. They're very far along, I would say. We're finalizing a few of those pieces. I'm looking for leaders and connectors and relationship builders and schematic expertise. But most importantly, guys that the players believe in, that they're willing to dive deep and build real strong relationships with the players. I think when they feel that it's collaborative and they feel that it's ours and not just the coaches and this is what the players do, this is what the coaches do, it's all of us. And so I'm excited about the people involved in those searches right now, and I look forward to sharing those in the near future.
Gary Downey, Baltimore Ravens. Eric, as you went through this process, was there a point, what was the point where you made the decision as a group and said, Jesse is the guy that we want, and what was it that kind of tipped the scales in that direction?
Yeah, good question, Gary. And I think first I really want to thank Sashi and Ozzie and Derek Cameron was a big part of this as well, and everybody else. And we got a lot of information. We talked to many people, and we had a number of Zooms. We got them scheduled very quickly. We started almost immediately with our process, and as I said, it was a sprint. We treated it like a 2-week draft, essentially. In most cases, we had like 2 interviews a day, various times of the day. And it was just really interesting, I think, valuable for me personally to talk to all these like extremely intelligent, great leaders from other teams to see kind of how they do things. And I learned a lot. And it's not something that you want to do every year, certainly. But to do it once, I think, was a very, very valuable experience for me. And I think Ozzie and Sashi would say the same thing. As we went through the first round, we started to see patterns develop. We really did kind of come out with 4 or 5 people that we thought were probably for us the cream of the crop, or at least the finalists that we would envision. Obviously, the rules, NFL rules, make it difficult to interview all the candidates the same way, given that some teams are still playing. So we came out of the process, I think, and we were talking about the next step. Most of our interviews have been over Zoom. We brought some guys in. Jesse was one of those guys that we brought in as a finalist, and he just blew us away in person. I mean, as good as his Zoom interview was, I think spending time with him in Baltimore was even more valuable. And I think at that point, while he was with me in my office, I started to imagine Jesse as our head coach and what that might look like. And as we got feedback from other people, from Steve, from Ozzie, from Sashi, everybody who had a chance to contribute, it became very apparent that that Jesse was really the guy that we would target to be our next head coach.
Okay, Jesse, Keith Mills. Keith Mills from WBAL Baltimore. You received a tremendous amount of praise from a lot of guys that you coached with along your journey. One of them was from P.J. Volker, defensive coordinator at the Naval Academy. What was that journey like coming through with so many guys that are doing well? Was there a moment in time also when you thought, hey, I can do this, I can be a head coach in the NFL?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I think, just being able to come up with so many great coaches that I've worked with along the way. PJ and I were college teammates. Love what he's done over there at the Naval Academy, him, Coach Newberry, with that defense. And so I think just the experience of going through it and being able to observe John Harbaugh, the guys that have been really successful in these type of roles. I think as I got to the Chargers, especially after my first year, being back in the NFL and now being in a leadership position as a coordinator, I felt like I could do the job, and I felt like I was preparing myself for this moment, for this opportunity. So the last year especially, I really felt strongly that I was getting more and more prepared to be in this situation, and I was hoping for an opportunity during this cycle, and then sure enough, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and this job opened up, and it was a match made in heaven for me and my family.
Jesse, and over here, Jerry Coleman from the Be More Football Podcast and 100.7 The Day. Welcome back. Question for you and for Eric. For you, how surreal is it to be back here with a bigger office, as you talked about? And what transpired with you leaving and going to Vanderbilt? Can you take us through that?
Sure.
And then Eric, can you take us through, I know Steve had wanted some of the players involved, was Lamar, Kyle Hamilton, guys like that, involved in some of the process. Take us through that if you could, as far as you can.
Yeah, so 2020, COVID year, I was a defensive backs coach here, and Wink was the D coordinator. We had a great defensive staff. It's been well documented what all those coaches are doing now. And it was really just a kind of a shoot your shot moment for myself. Hit it off with Clark Lee, who's still a dear friend, who's the head coach at Vanderbilt. He reached out to me about being his defense coordinator. Kind of hit it off, decided to do it, decided to leave, really just on my own accord, and wanted the opportunity to kind of run the defense and see if what I had learned here could be put into action. And so that was a great part of my journey, going with Clark, who's now one of my best friends in the profession. Went from there to Michigan, and then from there to the Chargers and back here. So it was definitely a major part of me being prepared to be in this situation now.
Yeah, Jerry, so we had a small group of players, kind of split evenly offense, defense. Could have picked a lot of guys. We tried to pick a small group of veteran players that had inquired about being a part of the process. They had the opportunity to come in to Baltimore or be a part of the Zoom. We had both.
That's been a situation everyone has faced at some point in their life or is professional in sports. But I want to know why you think the people like when an underdog exceeds expectations. I won't say overachieve because that might be an insult, but does it bring more joy to a wonderful situation that you've defied the expectations?
Well, I think people are interested in it because those are the best stories. You know, if you look at all of our, the media entertainment, those are the best movies, best shows, all that type of stuff. For us, we said it after the championship game that we didn't care. We really don't. I think what was important for us was to become a championship team. We weren't that in the spring. We're on our way. That's what we wanted to become. But in order to get to a stage like this and win a game like this, it's got to be real. And that's what you have to become. And that's what our focus was on. So, but it's great. People are going to talk. There's a lot of attention, and that's what makes the game so great. There's a lot of fans out there, and it's exciting. But that's out of our control. It's not how we operate on a day-to-day basis. So. The process has been a lot of fun. Becoming the team that we've become has been an awesome journey.
Maybe it's a bit sweeter though, or not really?
Well, this is the one time we've been here, so it's pretty sweet as it is. I don't know. Nothing to compare it to.
Thanks.
Mike, congratulations on the great season.
Thank you.
What went into the process of hiring Jim Kubiak in the offseason, and how do you think he's had the impact that he's had on the team?
Well, there's a benefit of us kind of being out in front of it. So, and I haven't really had an opportunity to cast a wide net and talk to a lot of people. There's a lot of great coaches that were available last year. So, in a classic Mike fashion, took my time, probably overthought it a bit, talked to a lot of great people. I think as the process really unwound, it became very clear that, and Clint was the first person we talked to, that not only was he going to bring a great staff, it was a great plan. I think our visions were aligned on what we were trying to create, and just became very clear that he was going to be a great partner to work with. So excited for him. He's done a great job. It's been a lot of fun to work with him, and we got one more game to go.
Mike, congratulations on being here. Sam Darnold's career is obviously, he's had some difficult moments. He's had this incredible resurgence. I'm wondering what you've been able to do to help him get to this level where he's now got this chance to really dispel any of his critics' doubts about him, and how you're going about that for Sunday.
Well, Sam has got to this point. We're there to help, as with all our players, but I think Sam's story is a little bit more in the limelight than all of our stories, but that's made him who he is today, and I think he would share the same sentiment with you. I think our role in the whole thing is to be supportive, believe in him. There's a lot of things that we saw in Sam that we loved, and he's lived up to those things and then some. But as a coach, we have visions for our players, and it's about fulfilling that vision for Sam and who he can become. And there's gonna be times throughout the year that you fall short and you kind of get back up and dust yourself off and keep plugging away. So, and Sam's been that steadying force. And so he's a resilient dude, man. Competitor, winner. It's been fun to be alongside him throughout the whole year.
Coach, hi, Contessa Brewer from CNBC. There's been a lot of publicity around the future for the team and whether a pressured sale is imminent. I'm just wondering, in your mind, what makes an ideal owner? Who would be an ideal owner for the Seahawks?
Well, to go with the sale and the ownership, nothing's, from our perspective, nothing's changed from 2 weeks ago, or nothing's changed since I interviewed for the job with Jody 2 years ago. I'll say this: Jody's a fantastic owner, supportive, steadfast in what she believes and what she wants the Seahawks team to be and what it should mean to our community. And it's very clear on what our expectations are, and she can kind of see through the fog that sometimes maybe in the first year I had a hard time doing. And so to have that type of guidance and that type of support has meant a lot. So I can say this: I love having Jody as our owner. She's been fantastic.
Hey, Mike, to your left here. Wanted you to shed some more insight into John Schneider. Obviously, a great reputation for years. Knowing what you knew about him before you arrived, and now having worked with him,
yeah.
What's been the most striking thing about how he operates and how you two have been able to work together?
Yeah, don't be fooled by his awestruck personality. He's as sharp as they come, and he seems like he's young because of his energy and his enthusiasm, but he's seen a lot of football. He's seen a lot of great organizations operate. He's got a very clear vision on what he wants to achieve. Man, what a great communicator. The spirit behind how he operates is the Seahawks, the brand of the Seahawks. John exemplifies that every day. Man, he is a awesome person to work with on a day-to-day basis. I look forward to seeing him every day. He makes it fun, he makes it exciting, he challenges you. I had a lot of mentors going through the process 2 years ago, and to a man said, you need to go work with that guy, and that meant a lot, and he's lived up to that and then some.
Hey coach, here. Pablo de Rubens from TV Azteca, Mexico. With all the noise and all the distractions during this week, how do you manage the weekly preparation for an important game like this one, the most important in the year?
Yeah, you try to be so steadfast in your process, and at some point, things are going to change, things are going to be different, and what doesn't change is our principles and the things that we're about on like a moment-by-moment basis. So my message to the team is, hey, look, we're going to be loose and focused, and that's how we roll. So the loose part is we're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy these moments. We're going to love being with our friends and family and enjoying our teammates. We're also going to be focused, like that we have an accountability to our process and the things that we need to do go play our best. So
Hi, Coach.
that's going to be our process. Excuse me, sorry.
Oh, hi, Coach, over here. Congratulations on making it to the Super Bowl.
Thanks.
Funny enough, actually, today was exactly 1 year since the Rams indicated they would move on from Cooper Kupp. I was kind of wondering, could you kind of describe the process of getting Cooper Kupp onto the team, what he's meant to this organization? Some people thought he may have been past his prime. Could you kind of describe the impact that he's had, catching a touchdown in his championship, and just his resurgence, I guess?
Well, you knew Cooper Kupp through his reputation. Jake Peets is on our staff. He's got a great relationship with Cooper. When it was first, like, we made it a point to, like, I think whenever the first time we were actually allowed to reach out to Coop, I had him on the line and just said, look, like, we don't get a lot of opportunities to really acquire a player like you, especially early in our program, and what better player to bring in early than Cooper Kupp. And man, he's been, like, I use the term force multiplier. He's that with the receiver room. You can see it, the effect with a lot of our guys. Like Jax is obvious, but really the rest of our young receivers, and that's rippled all the way throughout the whole team. Offense, defense, special teams, all three phases. He's helped me, and then to see him make plays in the championship game when stakes are highest was really special. I'm really happy for him.
Hey, Mike. Go ahead, teammate.
You go first, though.
Mike, how would you describe the way, the benefit that you get as a play caller, the way you guys can get after a quarterback without having to blitz too much?
Makes my life a lot easier, for sure. One thing I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years calling plays is when you build it right, you have faith in your players and you trust them, and they got your back as you're trying to have theirs, and that's how it works together. So, a quick call is a good call.
Hey, Mike, Stacey Dale's NFL Network. If you had to scheme against Jackson, what would be the challenges? How would you pursue him?
Can you put 3 guys on him?
Yeah, just have unwavering faith. Results are one game, bad game, good game. It doesn't, move me. And I think just being able to stand on that has brought a lot of peace in my life.
What do you think makes you unique?
I think, just problem solving, being out there, understanding defenses, man or zone, and, getting funky looks that we're not used to. I think being able to problem solve and still connect with my quarterback is something that I would say is pretty good about my game.
Is there a receiver in the league that reminds you of you?
In the league right now? I wouldn't say fully, though.
Jackson, can you talk about how this team was built? Like, there's been a lot of discussion about how much was gained in the first round when you and Devin got taken, but it's the 3rd youngest team in the league. You've added some veterans like Coop and D-Law and a few others. Can you talk a bit about the mix and why it works so well?
Yeah, I think John and all the guys have done a great job building this roster, and I think there's a certain type of guy they look for, and you got to love football, you got to love competing, and you got to be a good guy. I would give credit to everyone in our locker room. We got a bunch of great guys who really love each other and love to play for each other and love ball and love to win. So I think just having that DNA is something special that's in the locker room. And
if you guys win, would you cover up the Dallas Cowboys tattoo?
Nah, I don't think I cover it up.
Do you think the Cowboys can ever win a Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Jackson, can you talk about your experience working with Mike McDonald and how he's maybe influenced some of your success this season?
Oh, definitely. I think just seeing this thing grow, and what he's built, kind of his vision on what this team is supposed to look like and how he wants it to look like, I think has a big impact on how we move and our belief and our culture. So I give credit to that. Him just putting it into words and really standing on that every single day, and like I said, finding the right group of guys to get it done.
Jackson, you talked about your love for basketball and playing basketball growing up. We saw your hops actually dunking over the goalpost. I was wondering, what would you believe your NBA comp would be, and do you have a favorite NBA team?
Yeah, I like the Mavericks and I like the Lakers. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm a Kyrie fan, you know, so I watch a lot of Kyrie highlights. I love his creativity with the rock. I think it's special. So I'll say Kyrie. I would say Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, you mentioned Lakers and the Mavericks. Do you have any, what were your thoughts about the trade? Obviously, it's been a year now from it, but
Oh yeah, I remember it. It was shocking, honestly. Me being a Dallas native, it was shocking. Couldn't believe it. Was a little happy he went to the Lakers. That I'm a LeBron fan, but yeah, so it was kind of bittersweet.
Scrunch, some kind of texture that you're putting on there, because otherwise I think you look like that. You look at like that 80-year-old dude with the short shorts and the pants, the socks pulled up. You don't have you'll have time to be that guy, right? Like right now, we're our back's healthy. We can get down there and scrunch our socks.
And so, White Sox, Black Sox.
I'm a notoriously not black sock guy, but you know, I've recently come around to the belief that you could wear black socks in the right situation. So, you know, each their own, but scrunch your socks.
How's your relation with Jackson Smith, and how is he as a person?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really fun getting to know him better. Always was a huge fan of him just in terms of his time at Ohio State. I thought he was a really good receiver. Did some really good things in his feel for how offenses work and things like that. But it's been great to get to know him better, just go through this year. And he's a real special player, so it's been a lot of fun.
Can you read these numbers 6 and 7 for me, please?
Read 6 and 7?
6 and 7.
I don't know what they say.
It's in Spanish.
Well, I know that. I know it's in Spanish, but if I don't know, why would I say it if I don't even know what you don't have like a translation or anything there?
No, the challenge is in Spanish.
Okay, how about I just read 7?
Yeah, don't worry.
No, I'm going to read number 6.
Okay.
Okay. Mientras uno esté vivo, uno debe amar lo más que se pueda.
With the 49ers being a divisional rival throughout your career, does that familiarity with Levi's put your head on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be nice. I'm curious. I don't know what. I'm not sure what locker room we're in. Do you know? Does anyone know?
The home locker.
Oh, really? Yeah, so that'll be new. But it'll be nice being able. I've played a lot of football games in that stadium. Yeah, that'll be cool to be somewhere familiar.
Hey, Cooper, when you look at the all-time, like if you can pick a group of 5 all-time receivers, who will be in your group?
Yeah, so this is an impossible task because you piss off people immediately. All-time receivers. Okay, well you go Randy Moss, you go Megatron. I'll go with Steve Largent running the slot for me. I need one more good I really like Andre Johnson. He's gonna bring a little bit of that juice with him. And then let's do one more. I guess I'll go Jerry. Jerry will be the veteran presence that we need.
You could have put yourself in there.
Last question.
No, that was it.
Cooper, what's the last thing that you Googled?
The last thing that I Googled, I am a serial Googler. So I Googled, what did I Google recently? There's so many things.
You can check.
Yeah, you're right. I should probably just do that. It's like the Google machine knows a lot of stuff. So let's see what was my most recent one. I was looking up watches recently. So, but asking a question, the last question I looked up.
Watches are fine. What kind of watch are you looking at?
I was looking at a perpetual calendar. Looking at 3 different perpetual calendars, and I really want to find a tourbillon watch. So I'm looking for one of those. It's kind of a useless complication now, but I think it's so cool. So I'm looking for one of those.